I was sleeping through another night of toxic fallout. That psychic drone was really buzzing in my head. Felt like I couldn't shake this bad feeling due to it. Otherwise, everything was alright. When I woke up, I had to do a bunch of cleaning. I was going to need to do some more mining as well, so I ran on out to start taking care of that. I was going to need a fair lot of steel before I could start up this ship. The way my traps are going to disappear, I'm sure. So I mined for a while, carried in what I could, sat down and had myself a fruit drink, and decided to run on out, do a little more mining while I was still feeling warm and fuzzy from the fruit drink. I mined a tiny bit more, headed back inside, yet another fruit drink. I was burning through these things like nobody's business, but they were delicious. Had myself a meal after that, decided to run on out, do a little more mining. I was crabby as a fella could be, mostly due to that droning. Just this constant buzz doesn't leave you alone, drive you nuts. After mining, I carried in what I could, decided to toss some horseshoes for a bit. I was also going to move my horseshoe pin. Slightly better location for me, so I got that handled. And then I ran on back out, do some more mining. I was getting a fair amount of toxic buildup by this point. All the time I was spending outside, I decided to call it, go lay in bed for a while. I was sleepy anyway. There was an eclipse on, so it was dark everywhere. When I got up, some more mining was in order. I was gonna have to build some more roof to keep myself safe out here, so I did that. The eclipse ended right about the same time. Cargo pods fell out of the sky full of wild mushrooms. I wasn't going to complain about that. Maybe I could make a bunch of pemmican instead of some meals. A little bit of variety, never hurt a guy. I mined for the better part of the day, carried in what I could, came on inside for a meal. The place was looking a right mess, so I had to do some cleaning at that point as well. My toxicity levels starting to feel a little higher than I'd like them to. It's getting shaky. Decided to run on out and grab some of them mushrooms. Seemed like a big waste of effort, in all honesty. Make one silly meal, run out there and get all this toxic buildup. After that, I was off to sleep. About that time, the drone from that ship got worse. It was really bugging the crap out of me now, so I was going to have to do something about it. Despite the toxic buildup, I grabbed my gun, ran on out, see if I could find a nice spot to shoot it. And that's what I did. A couple robots came on out of there, a big one and a little one. The big one took some shots at me eventually. Didn't hit me though. I managed to plug him a few times though. The little one was chasing after me, top speed. I turned to give him the business, slow him down a little bit, and I took off running. He was in hot pursuit, but my bullets had slowed him a bit. I ran on through my door, thinking he'd probably make it through as well. It wasn't the end of the world though. Told my drone to run inside, lest it get killed as well. My gun started going nuts. Good to know the kill box does what it's supposed to. And they brought that robot down without too much trouble. I decided to go on inside for a minute, play a little chess, see if I could stay out of the toxic nastiness for a little bit. That big guy was creeping, but I was pretty sure he was going to turn around. I was going to have to go tease him out, get him to come back after me. He banged on my door a few times. Then he called it. So I let him walk away a little bit. Then I jumped on out there, started giving him the business. I was getting pretty shaky from the toxic fallout, irritated by this drone buzzing in my head. I popped him a few times and he turned around. I decided to run on inside at that point. My door had taken some abuse, but there wasn't much I could do about that right now. I decided to go try and repair it. But that big robot decided he was going to step on all my traps and then get blasted by my guns. I was having a meal at that time, trying not to get any more toxic buildup going on. Guns are giving that thing the business. I stepped on outside, contribute my rifle to it. He sure put out a lot of shots, but he wasn't very accurate. So eventually, down it went. I was getting sicker by the minute though. Perhaps I'd have to stay inside for a while, do some cooking or something. For the minute though, that ship had to be destroyed. So I ran on out there, started blasting it up. And of course it didn't take long. It fell to pieces. I decided to grab what I could while I was out here. The robot didn't seem to be affected by toxic buildup, so I should make him haul it all, but since I'm standing here, I did it anyway. I got that hauled on inside, did some cleaning, made a plan to stay inside for a little while. Doesn't make sense to be running outside, risking my health when I'm so close to getting off this planet. I sat down and played some chess. The dogs are milling about. Decided I was going to cook a bunch of food when I got done with this. So I butchered up some critters. Was able to make a bunch of pemmican, those wild mushrooms. And my toxicity level is through the roof. I was feeling worse than I had yet. So it was a good thing I was staying inside, just cooking, having a meal sometimes, doing some cleaning. Having some fruit drink as well. Those things were a real godsend. I made as much pemmican as I could, and I made a bunch of simple meals, then I was off to bed. Still feeling pretty sick. Robot eventually brought in the rest of those mushrooms, so I butchered up some critters, seeing as I could make more pemmican out of that. Did some cleaning as well. I don't want to be cooking in such a messy place. Perhaps this toxic buildup wasn't a bad thing. Somebody called me, offering me some goodies. I wasn't interested though. Not like I could really leave my place right now. All this toxicity in the air, bound to kill a guy. This gave me a good opportunity to get all the food made that I was gonna need. So I just focused on that. Making meals, keeping the place clean, enjoying the fruit drinks. After a while, I decided I should probably get out, rebuild my traps. But it was a little too late, as a whole bunch of beavers showed up. 19 of them, in fact. I was putting up some roof to keep myself safe while I rebuilt traps. And those buggers came creeping on me. Some of them stepped on my traps, some of them bashed on my doors. A bunch of them got in. They didn't seem to die as fast as I would have liked either, I'll tell you what. So I was shooting them, and the guns were shooting them. I had to hit one of them with the butt of the gun, then with the tip of it, bring him down so he wouldn't get in place, hold the door open on me. I decided I was just going to hide out inside and let the guns take care of those jerks. So they were bashing on my door, but I was having a fruit drink, trying my best to ignore it. I didn't think they'd be able to destroy that door since only one of them could get to it at a time. After my fruit drink, I chilled out a little bit, had a meal. Clearly not too worried about this beaver infestation I was having right now. They weren't too hell-bent on working on the door, so I just got to repairing it. My drone had got itself shot a few times. I was gonna have to figure out how to get that guy fixed. So many dead beavers, man, they were everywhere. But I'm sure the drone can take care of them. Maybe I'll have to put him on timeout. He can get himself fixed up somehow. I put up the rest of my roofs I was going to need so I could rebuild all my traps. I was going to need some more roof down south too. I was going to do a little more mining. And while I was down there, I worked on that a little bit since I'd already made the trip through the toxic fallout. While I was working on it, the toxic fallout settled. And I grabbed what I could, skipped on back home as happy as could be. Still had dead beavers everywhere. But hey, at least we could all go outside again without worrying. I was feeling pretty bad from it. Fortunately, these fruit drinks keep me happy. I don't have too much to complain about. I'd sent that drone back to its base. Turns out, it just heals itself up naturally. Some kind of nanites or something, I'm sure. This planet sure is one crazy place. I was contemplating that while chilling out. Just enjoying my space. Dogs are happy to be outside again, that's for sure. They seem to like the taste of beaver and keep munching on those things, which is fine with me. So many dead animals around. Some fellow was passing through about then. I was wary lest he try to jack me and take my ship. But he didn't come near. I left him alone as well. I'm sure he's gonna spread the word. But it won't be long before I'm out of here and it'll be too late anyways. So I built traps till they were all done. And then I was off to bed. Starting to feel better. My toxicity level must be going down to a safe zone somewhere because my hands stopped shaking so bad. When I woke up, do a bunch of repairs on everything. Sandbags, walls, guns. Man, everything was beat up. I don't know what kind of chaos I'm gonna invite by starting this ship. I was a little worried about it while I was tossing horseshoes, trying to relax a bit. Felt good to be doing something normal though. Not fending off crazy mad beavers. So I repaired the rest of the sandbags, the guns, and the walls. Took the better part of the day, in all honesty. So much work to do around here, one guy. I had to figure out how to get that hauling bot, do some wall repairs. I know he can disassemble them, you ought to be able to fix them, right? I went back to mining at that point. Got the rest of that steel vein mined out. And my hauling robot was right on top of bringing the stuff up, so that was good. When I got back inside, I had myself a meal. Planned a bunch of cleaning. It was a pretty disgusting environment around here. Just beaver blood everywhere. Dirt and filth. After that, I went on out to another steel spot. Started doing some more mining. I was getting close to what I was going to want. Call this done, but didn't want to fall short, so I was off to bed. Continuing to improve as my toxicity level dropped. When I woke up, I had myself a meal. Went back to mining steel. Did that for quite a while. About lunchtime, I came back inside. Decided to take a walk around. Have a look at my kill box. It was pretty gross, but the walls were solid. The guns were on. There were still some fancy floors from something I disassembled and left in place. Next up, more mining. Before I started that, I had myself a meal right away. And then I mined as long as I could bear. It was about 11 p.m. Decided to head off to bed to carry in what I could. Still debating on what to do with these dogs. Might as well just put them in a cryptosleep casket, I suppose. And when I woke up, another meal was in order. One of them dogs had gotten the flu overnight, so I tended to him, and I fed him. Ended up having to feed them both, and then I anesthetized them both. Followed very shortly by putting them in the cryptosleep caskets. Wherever I end up, I guess we're all together. After that, I made some meals and did some cleaning. There are so many beavers around. I can butcher them things up all day. I still had cougars from the cougar attack, goats from the goat attack, muffalo, probably my own muffalo I'd slaughtered when I first got here. So I butchered a ton of them. Tried to stay on top of the cleaning. Focused on cooking meals for a while. After that, sat down to chill out for a bit. I was excited, despite everything. It's been a long road, and I was getting close to the end of it. A couple more meals cooked up, and then I decided that was it. I wasn't going to butcher any more of these creatures. I was going to take apart my stove as well. Sure, I could get some steel out of that, maybe some components. So I took it apart. Decided I was going to get all the corpses out of the freezer as well. I had plenty of meals, get me through. Somebody called saying they were being chased, but I told them there wasn't much I could do for them. After that, I was off to bed once again. And when I woke up, I did some tidying up. The place was looking pretty nice. And it felt to me, as I was hauling a dead grizzly out to the dead pile, that it was probably time to get that ship fired up. First I want to put on my fancy armor, just in case it popped off immediately. You never know how it's going to go. So I ran on in, put on my fancy armor, and while doing so, that was it. I fired that ship right up. According to that AI guy, it's going to get crazy. But I felt secure. I was going to hide out in my base, let my hauling robot go out and do all the dirty work out there. I had 3 crypt-to-sleep caskets, not yet used. One of my guns had broken down, so I had to fix that. I could still disassemble some of them caskets if I wanted. If I need more uranium or something, probably be a good play, but we'll see how it goes. I didn't have much to do, so I just cleaned, which is an interesting prospect wearing all this fancy armor. It's got power-actuated muscles, climate control. It's pretty crazy, in fact. I don't know how they build this stuff, but I cleaned, contemplating how much I'd learned since I've been on this planet. How I wish I wouldn't have ended up here. I tossed horseshoes as well. Just chilling out, having a good time, waiting for something to happen. Apparently word hadn't got out yet, and I wasn't going to complain about that. I went on inside, sat down to play some chess, had myself a meal, and just kind of wandered around without much to do. Disassembled my stone cutting table. I didn't need that anymore, and there was some steel in there. Then it was back to wandering around before I went to bed for the night. The hauling robot seemed busy still. But hey, good for him. And when I woke up, I wandered about, did some cleaning. The hauling robot was still bringing steel over that I'd mined. I was sitting on quite a bit, so I wasn't worried about it as I was having a fruit drink, followed by some more wandering about. It was pretty stinking cold out, I can tell you that. Hopefully the ship will work, this cold climate. My gun kept breaking down. It's weird, seemed to be the same one. And about that time, a bunch of tribespeople showed up. Of all the people gonna show up and try and steal a ship, I wouldn't have thought it'd be tribespeople, but that's what it was. Some of them were gonna try and bust down my walls. I ran on out to give them the business. I didn't need any of my walls going down this early. I shot her a few times, and she wasn't going to last long. Her friends were creeping on me, so I started shooting at him too. One of them died on the traps, and she thought better of it. She better go treat herself, or she ain't going to last much longer. And there was a wolf out there. Had a fight with a goat. The goat got the worst end of it, but the wolf didn't look too good either. Some fool started bashing on my wall. His little friend came around, thinking about shooting her bow at me. So I waited. She was pretty sharp though. She didn't come around the corner where I could shoot her, so I had to chase after her. And that's what I did. Eventually, I was able to give her the business. She certainly thought better of that. I left those two jerks fleeing, and the other pack of people all died on my traps. They'd had enough. They were skinning out too. So I told that hauling robot, go ahead and carry all this stuff around. I don't really need the weapons, so I don't really care too much. My wall got pretty well damaged. Decided I was going to try and shoot that last fella down, being that he'd done some serious work on my building. Well, while I was shooting him, a bunch of other jerks showed up. Some outlanders. They were coming down. I decided I better get myself back in before they popped out of the little pods. And I was worried for my hauling robot too, so I hope they don't get a hold of him. I had nowhere to stand but in my dead pile. Some jerk popped out of a pod. And she tried to give me the business, but all she had was this little pistol. I was well armored and well equipped, so she got the worst end of that. After that, I decided to run on inside. There was another fella creeping, but the trap did with him. Didn't have to worry about that guy either. There's still a bunch of them lurking around. I decided I was going to go hide in my little spot, but it didn't take long. A couple of them died on traps and the rest buggered off. With that, it was going to be time to rebuild traps, see about repairing my wall. They left crap everywhere. Hoping that hauling robot can get the job done. I told it was free, get on out and do what it needed to do. For some reason it went over and took all the clothes off some dead fella. Not sure why it would do that, but that's what it did. I was working on traps, standing on a bunch of carcasses. Decided maybe I should find somewhere to put these guys nearby. Maybe that hauling robot could figure that out, rather than go around stripping dead people all the time. So I built traps. Decided I'd better get on out and fix that wall. It was pretty well beat up. He'd almost gotten through there. Don't need him taking out my power conduit or something. After the wall was fixed, decided I was off the bed. I was feeling pretty good. I might just haven't seen all these dead people. I didn't feel too bad for him. About that time, transport pod crashed. Someone named Hannibal. Seemed like an alright chap. Wasn't gonna make it too long though. I decided to heck with it. I have some crypto sleep caskets available. I'll just stuff Hannibal right in one of them. Be doing that fella a favor and get him off this miserable planet. So I ran on out and grabbed him. That's gonna leave me with 2 open crypto sleep caskets. If he doesn't die before I get him in there anyway. But as it happens, he survived. So I'm bringing a random friend with me. We can talk about how horrible this planet is when we get back to Earth. Hopefully he's from Earth, not here, or else he's not going to have any idea, but that's going to be his problem, not mine. I worked on rebuilding traps, repairing walls. There's clothing laying all around. People left silver. I got back inside, just did some tidying up. Did some more of that outside as well. There was blood everywhere. I don't like the look of that. That first jerk that had landed, she was laying out there. I told the hauling robot, go put her aside somewhere I don't have to see her as well. And then I just wandered around, waiting for something to happen until it was bedtime once again. When I woke up, I had myself a meal, did some cleaning, and then a bunch of mechanoids showed up. 4 of them with guns. Didn't like the looks of that. I told my hauling robot immediately to stay inside. Didn't seem like it was gonna listen though. It ran right outside. And wouldn't you know it, one shot, one kill. Sadly, I deactivated it, seeing if it would fly back in, but it was too late. Got itself killed, not listening to my commands. I was lying in wait, waiting for these jerks to come in, but they all died on my traps. Without that darn robot, it's gonna be extra work for this guy. Sad to see it go though. I don't like it as much as I liked Hamlet, but yeah, it was a close second, I'll tell you that. So, I rebuilt my traps. I was gonna have to get all these dead guys hauled around too. When the last trap was rebuilt, I got to the business moving dead robots around. Decided I was just gonna keep them a little closer. There's no sense running too far with them. So I started carrying those guys, putting them all in a pile. And it didn't take too long. I had the place mostly cleaned up again. After that, decided to do a little bit of cleaning, which seemed like a waste of time. No sense cleaning the outside. Decided I'd stay inside after that, unless something bad happened to me. I was laying down on a pile of steel, which felt comfortable as it gets considering the armor I was wearing. Just staring up at the sky, watching the clouds drift by. There were 12 days left till I could get in my crypto sleep pod and take off. And I was pretty excited for it. I was gonna have to move that little hauling robot station. Made me sad just looking at it. And I was gonna miss that guy as much as I missed the cleaning robot before. So I was off to bed at that point. And it had been a heck of a couple days. I was geared up as good as could be. And despite seeing all these dead people, I was feeling alright. Corpses laying all around, but the base was still intact. The bunker had done its job. Guns are still ready to fire. So, till tomorrow, another night was passing.